So apparently, in regard to the Stellar and Zebec partnership, there could be more details to come soon. Now, this is not even according to me. This is actually according to Stellar themselves. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but Stellar, in a recent post where they basically acknowledged the Zebec partnership, and I even made a video on that, but even besides that, down below, they say more details to follow. Now, what could this mean? Now, of course, I'm not a part of the Stellar team. I'm not a part of the Zebec team, so I won't be able to know, but at least I'd like to think about some hypotheticals. Now, one of my main hypotheticals is what happens if Stellar becomes a backer when it comes to Zebec? Now, this doesn't sound too far-fetched in my opinion. And now some people may be thinking, what do you mean? That does sound so far-fetched. Well, let's take a look at the backers when it comes to Zebec, right? Let's take a look at OKX Ventures. That's very massive. Take a look at Coinbase Ventures. On top of that, we of course already know about Circle, the creator of USDC. Furthermore, we take a look at also Solana Ventures. So here's the thing. If I take a look at those main backers when it comes to Zebec, right now, of course, Zebec also has other backers on top of that. However, I do want to mention the popular ones. But even besides that, again, if I take a look at that right there, is it too far-fetched for me to assume that Stellar can't be a backer as well when it comes to Zebec? Why not? Stellar is focused on global trade and finance. It has an aspect of ISO 20022. We've seen Stellar back other projects in the past. So would this be too far-fetched? I probably don't think so. I mean, let's just think about this, right? Coinbase Ventures, Solana Ventures, OKX Ventures, aren't they like all more massive and popular than something like Stellar? They are, right? And it wasn't too far-fetched for them to back Zebec. So why would Stellar, which is way less popular than them, backing Zebec be too far-fetched? That's the way to take a look at it. Now, will they do that though? I mean, who knows? But I'm just saying it's a pure hypothetical, right? However, people like to say, well, even if that is the case, as of right now, it's such quote-unquote bad timing. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that in a sense where if I take a look at it from the perspective of Stellar, because people like to say, well, ZBCN is low as of right now. Well, isn't that kind of the point, right? You know, like as a project, if I wanted to back another project or if I was an entity, my intent is to back it when it is quote unquote not mainstream yet, right? Isn't that kind of the point? So when people like to say, well, ZBCN's not doing good as of right now, why would a project want to back it right now or an entity? Well, isn't that kind of the point? You know, that's just my point of view. Imagine if like big firms or big entities, they only want to back things after it's already done the journey, so to speak. What's the point? They usually want to enter when it's kind of down here, so then they can be a part of that journey. That's the way I take a look at it sometimes. It's like, for instance, if we take a look at Uber, you know, the ones that believed in it in the beginning, they're really happy right now. In some cases, I may be assuming, right? But they backed it because it was quote unquote way lower before in some cases. So if that same principle applies to that, right? Why wouldn't it apply here? In a sense where when a project is not doing good, like that's not necessarily, in my opinion, the wrong time or something like that for a project to want to back it, because isn't that kind of the point? They want to back things usually when it's kind of low. But that's just a pure hypothetical. Again, I'm not a part of the Stellar team, so I won't be able to know for sure. But again, it's just something I want to speculate here. And I just kind of want to debunk this sort of perception, right? Of where people like to say that, oh, it's too far-fetched for Stellar to even want to back Zebec in a pure hypothetical. I don't agree with that because, again, some of the backers when it comes to Zebec are just way more massive than Stellar, and even they backed Zebec, right? So why would that be too far-fetched for in the case of Stellar, which is way smaller in some cases than some of the backers when it comes to Zebec? So yeah, overall, I just don't view this as such a ridiculous hypothetical, in my opinion. But of course, only time will tell. We'll see what happens as they announce more things moving forward when it comes to Stellar and as well as Zebec. Now, not to mention, right, if we take a look at, let's say, in the case of Zebec, people like to say, well, this project has no future. Well, I kind of don't really agree with that in a fundamental standpoint of view, because keep in mind, Stellar has been around for quite a while. Coinbase Ventures, they seem to know what they're doing, right? Solana Ventures as well. Circle, the creator of USDC, OKX Ventures. So when something like in the case of Stellar or Algorand has a partnership when it comes to Zebec, furthermore, if Zebec has backers like the ones I mentioned before, they usually do their due diligence fundamentally, right? They also usually do a lot of research. They just don't randomly do things just because their friend thought it was cool or something like that. That's not usually how it works. They have a team, they have a discussion. They usually think about it over an extended period of time before they do something like that. So if they've done all of that right there, and then yet they still choose to believe in Zebec, which keep in mind, even as of right now, ZBCN is not considered a massive project by any means. It's just not. Sure, it's ranked 119th in the world in terms of market cap within this space, but the market cap is still below 250 million. And some of these backers, they backed Zebec back then when the market cap was like nowhere near this massive. So the way you take a look at it is, if they are even willing to back a project that is quote unquote this small, right? Or even smaller back then, I think they may see something fundamentally speaking. However, am I just going to automatically believe in everything they believe in? No, I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying, when it comes to the fundamentals, when it comes to Zebec, I think they may see something there. Now, personally, I can't speak on anyone's behalf, but I do like the fundamentals when it comes to Zebec. And yes, ZBCN is low. I'm totally aware of that. But ADA, Cardano's native token, that was low for quite some time, right? Was hovering around a couple cents. Then in 2021, it reached over $2. But again, at one point, it was kind of low as well. So when it comes to ZBCN, is it being low such a, I think, concerning thing for me? Well, the answer is no, because I just see no reason to randomly leave. That's just kind of the way I take a look at it. I still like the project overall. Still has over 90,000 holders. So yeah, I just don't want to give up for fun like that. It just makes no sense to me. Like, I know some friends out there who are exiting just for the sake of it, just because a lot of other people are exiting. They're just like, oh yeah, we're going to exit. But I don't want to do that without any rhyme or reason, right? I just don't want to randomly leave just because I thought it was cool or interesting. That's not what I do. What I do is I take a look at the fundamentals. Now, if the fundamentals became like really bad, and yet I'm seeing the charts go down and the sentiment isn't looking the best, then okay, I'll leave. But if I haven't seen it here, then I won't leave. It has to tick all of the boxes for me to leave, in a sense where if things are not doing good whatsoever, if let's say also the project just fundamentally became broken or something like that, or let's say the team gave up, if like I see all of that right there, then I'm leaving. Like, that's the way to take a look at it. But I just haven't seen that when it comes to Zebec. ZBCN, yes, it's having a pullback, but the team, the fundamentals, I feel like are still, pretty rock solid, at least from my perception. However, I'm not a part of their team, but I'm just saying the vibe that they give off shows me that, or at least somewhat indicates to me, that it seems like, the moving parts are in place. It's not all over the place, if that makes sense. It just feels a little bit more fundamentally kind of solid, right? Where they still have new partnerships, even at a time like right now, like the recent Stellar partnership. Furthermore, we take a look at historically the Algorand partnership. So again, when something like Stellar says more details to follow, I'm pretty happy and pretty excited actually. And when I take a look at something like that, I think it showcases to me that Stellar actually treats Zebec seriously. So I do like seeing that. I mean, this is just pretty impressive in my opinion, seeing something like Stellar actually want to even do something alongside Zebec. Personally, I'm still holding, I'm still waiting. It's a little bit boring, but you know what? At the end of the day, if Stellar is still, even acknowledging Zebec, if Zebec is still having new partnerships, I see no reason for me to just leave. But this is purely my opinion, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. It's Malik the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.